Here's a daily habit that'll make you exponentially better in storytelling. And I know because I've used it to help me win public speaking competitions, receive standing ovations, and speak in front of 2,000 people on numerous occasions with ease. So let's not waste any time here. And I don't really want to write too much, but there's a book I read called Storyworthy by Matthew Dix, and it's all about storytelling. And in it, there's this exercise called Homework for Life. You might have heard it. It's gotten quite popular, mainstream, Ali Abdal. If you haven't, whatever, who cares? And basically, all that it is it's a really short journaling exercise, 5 minute tops each day. Not even. It typically takes me about a minute or two to write down my Homework for Life assignment. And what it is it's simply just trying to harness and capture one story worthy moment from that day. All right, no matter how regular or plain and basic we might think it to be. Because the whole thing about storytelling is it's meant, the whole point is to try and connect, me and you to connect. And storytelling would be the bridge that connects us. Okay? And let's look at someone like Tom Cruise, this celebrity who's rich and famous with a six pack abs, and he jumps off of skyscrapers and glides off of the Burj Khalifa. You and I probably don't really relate to that too much. Maybe me because the six pack abs and the charm and charisma. But I'm kidding. But he would have to, in order to connect to someone like me, who's just a normal dude, he would have to take himself and not, I don't want to say dumb it down, but just have a far more basic and simpler story in order to connect with someone like me, with ordinary people, with the masses, with the public. The advantage that you and I have over these celebrities, over these people who are richer than us, more good looking than us, and more famous than us, is that we're already normal people. We're already relatable. We already have this, we're on like more or less the same playing field as the majority of the world, which is very, very powerful. And when we do our homework for life exercise at the end of each day, that's how I write it down in my journal. It's only a few sentences. And what this does is that over time, if we do something every single day over the course of 3 years, there's a compounding effect because we end up accumulating a lot. I was about to say a word I shouldn't have. We end up accumulating a lot of stories. And what it does is it builds our awareness to what a story-worthy moment is. We start moving through life, not only with a whole arsenal of stories to shoot the world with. Boom, here's my bazooka, here's the story I have. But we have this understanding of what makes moments special. And now we can start moving through life, living through life with this sixth sense, this spidey sense on standby whenever we need it. Imagine we're going for a walk and out of nowhere it starts raining, but we were dressed in our swimming costume ready to go to the beach. Most people would stand there and be like, wow, my luck, strike me dead with lightning. But we can stand there and think, yep, we can get a smile on our face because we know in that moment that is a story-worthy moment. Does that make sense? So we start going through life with this greater understanding and this almost wisdom and ability to just harness and capture and remember our important stories in life. All right, because many people, they think, bro, I don't have any story to tell. There's nothing special about me. I don't know what I'm going to say. It's because they have all these moments, but they just let them go. They forget about them. They let them fly by. All right. So we're going to avoid that, and we're going to harness every single little drop we can. So today it might be 40-degree Celsius weather, chilling in library, for aircon, AC, as the Americans call it. Does that make sense? That took me 10-20 seconds to write. All right. That's a usual, like, everyday normal thing. Okay, not 40 degrees, but that's not Tyrannosaurus Rex, which I had to fight off with my bare hands. It's not this cool elaborate story. And that's all we really have to do here. And over time we accumulate stories, and it just helps us Not, it helps us have this whole memory bank of stories to tell. And eventually, if we have a journaling exercise, or I can go back 2 years ago on a random page, a random Sunday afternoon, and I can have a story to tell. And I can maybe look at that and think, wow, this is actually a good story. Like, wow. I hope someone doesn't come and interrupt me. Wow, this is actually something like I can turn into a good story, right? It might just be 2 sentences, but it's something which we can then go and transform into a 5 minute long speech, which makes people cry and transform them as individuals. That is the whole point of this exercise. It opens up our eyes and our understanding to what stories really are and what moments really lead to stories, you know, and I mean really good big stories. This whole exercise, these are just a few sentences put together. They're just a little seed, but eventually we start knowing, and by filtering through a bunch of seeds by hand all the time, we know what kind of seeds grow into big ass oak trees. Does that make sense? So eventually, the more seeds we filter through, we'll find one seed in particular that can grow and germinate and grow into a, I don't know, a lotus flower. Does that make sense? And it looks quite beautiful and cool. So, homework for life, go and do it. Please, if you want. I really recommend it. What you really want to focus on here is just ticking boxes. There's going to be times at the end of each day when I know you're tired. Maybe you just simply forget. Maybe you don't have an actual physical journal. I recommend you do get one, like a piece of paper and write it with a pen. But worst case scenario, you can just go on the notes app on your phone and write something out. Just document something, write something down. Just tick a box. If there's a to-do list box for every single day, homework for life, just try and tick the box every day. Don't focus on having some insane quality writing here. Don't focus on, having memorable, insane stories from the start. Literally, just get a seed, bro. It doesn't have to be some insane seed which grows into, the tree of life like the one from Avatar. Just for now, for the time being, as we try and solidify this habit, just tick a box. Just keep doing that. And I had a few bullet points on my laptop to guide me here. I just want to make sure I hit everything down. Homework for life, it's about noticing what really matters in the everyday life. Most think their lives are boring because they forget the meaningful moments as soon as they pass. Every night, write down the story-worthy moments of the day, no matter how small, ordinary, or imperfect. Over time, this becomes a bank of memories. In a nutshell, that's what it is. I really recommend you go and read the book Story Worthy by Matthew Dix. If you don't have time for that, I made a storytelling cheat sheet. It's essentially everything I know on storytelling. I've read the book, I've learned that. His notes and theory and the knowledge from there is in my cheat sheet, and it's my experience in front of speaking through people, the things I've learned, the things I've applied, the checklists I've formulated to know if my stories are good enough. That's link in the description. It's completely free. I recommend you check it out because I've put a lot of time into it. I don't want it to go to waste, and I really just want some impact, or not impact, feedback from it on it to know if it's good or not. If you don't really care about that, just ask me some questions in the comments if you have. And that's been the video. Just try and apply this. Just try tick boxes every day. Keep it simple. Solidify the habit, and it doesn't have to be anything elaborate or crazy from the start. Take care.